Hey everyone, let's talk about some expiring licenses. What's up, gang? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Valaverse Declassified. This one's going to be a fun one because we're going to get into the weeds in some expiring licenses and who might get them and who might keep them and what my thoughts are. But this is all purely speculative. I have no insider knowledge. I just know of some licenses that are coming up, which is very much common knowledge. You can check the Googles and they'll tell you the exact same thing. But I'm going to talk about a couple companies that have some big licenses and, they are coming to an end and expiring, and my thoughts on if they will get these licenses back, and if not, who will get these licenses. And they are two big licenses, and they are Marvel and DC. I should also say Disney. Marvel, Disney, because it's Star Wars as well. It's all expiring at the same time. Now, these licenses are expiring for the companies that hold them in 2025. And currently, from what I know by doing research, the DC license is just the McFarlane DC license, the collector end of it. I do not know if that is for Spin Master, who holds the kid toy license. So the DC collector one is expiring in 2025, same as the Disney, which encompasses Marvel and Star Wars, which is currently held by Hasbro. Now, when I was at Hasbro in 2018, the license was about to expire and we were doing a pitch. You always have to do a pitch. It's not like you just, oh, hey, you've been doing a really good job, you get to keep this license. You have to do a pitch and you have to come show concepts and show, outside the box thinking, what future plans are to make that company want to stay with you. Because, a company like Disney doesn't care that there's been 1,000 Marvel Legends figures or, Black Series figures. They care about the dollar. And that's all that matters in this game. So, looking at it, I'm sure Hasbro made a big play to keep that license, because who would not want to keep the Disney license? You definitely don't want to lose that. And there's plenty of companies that probably made that pitch for that license because it's highly coveted. However, those two licenses aren't really in a great spot right now. While they're incredibly popular, Star Wars, now this is just my opinion, what Star Wars has been putting out is not good. Their content is not good at all. I think they've had way more failures than hits. Marvel, same thing. Wasn't until Deadpool and Wolverine that I think Marvel's put out anything good since Infinity War or Endgame. So Star Wars, there's been a press release saying that Lucasfilm has not made back the $4 billion that they spent on Lucasfilm, or Disney has made on Lucasfilm. So, that's telling, because it's been quite a long time that Disney has bought Lucasfilm, and to not make that money back is not a good sign. Marvel has definitely made that money. They did all right. But like I said, everything since Endgame has not really been very good. Again, just my opinion, but also look at the box offices. Their movies are just not hitting the mark anymore. So it's kind of interesting to see, where they're going from here. It's like, yes, you have a big hit with, Deadpool and Wolverine, over $1 billion. Now their next movie isn't coming out until February, which this video may or may not be out by then. And it's Captain America. NWO, Captain America. I think it was called New World Order. Now it's called something else. But I don't know if that movie's going to do well. I have my opinions on, if it will or won't do well, but I'm going to wait and see. But it's like after that, I don't know what else, Fantastic Four, all leading up to the new Avengers movies. Star Wars, I think they announced the Mandalorian movie, but they haven't put out a movie since Rise of Skywalker. And that was forever ago. So how do you have the Star Wars license and you're not putting out a movie every year? That's a travesty. Like, whoever's running that ship, and we know who she is not doing a very good job. So, you know, in my opinion, I don't believe Hasbro should get the Marvel, the Disney license. And I'm not saying that because of my feelings for Hasbro. I'm saying that because as a business, if I were Hasbro as a business, I would say no, thank you. I think their sales are down. Look, I mean, the stock's showing it, the quarterly earnings, like it's no secret. I'm not saying this just because of my feelings for them. I'm saying this because it's facts. Their products are down, and it's because the Disney licenses are down, what they're doing. So, you know, it would be a better business decision to not keep that, because what's going to happen is when you renew a license, you have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars up front. Their contracts have been made public. We've seen it. Their one contract, I think they had to pony up like $300 million at the start of a contract. So like that stuff's out there. And if you're a company like Hasbro whose stock is not doing well, not performing as a company, do you want to write that kind of check for an IP that has not been performing well? You know, it's just basic economics. So if I were them, I would not get in. I would focus on my own brands. G.I. Joe's doing well. Transformers is doing well. Just really get Nerf back to becoming a billion-dollar brand. When I got to Hasbro, Nerf was a billion-dollar brand. Now you go down the Nerf aisle, and you don't know if it's Nerf or Zuru, because Nerf has done a poor job of controlling that aisle, and the shame on them. But Nerf was at one point a billion-dollar brand, and now they're not. They're very far from it. So focus on your brands. Let really exciting new companies like Jazzwares, who are enthusiastic, who will have the money, the capital to get a Disney license, let them get Star Wars and Marvel, you know, because they can do something new. You know, when you do something for a long time like Hasbro, you get into this way of thinking, and it's like they're stuck in that way of thinking. So it's hard to think of something new. But it comes like Jazzwares, who's never worked on Marvel or Star Wars. Well, Jazzwares worked on Star Wars with their micro line. But I mean, like the regular line, like you could start thinking of new and crazy ideas because you've never had it before. So I think let them get it. I think it would be better off. Let it go to somebody new. Let them try it out. Now, the interesting thing with the McFarlane collector line coming up is, you know, will McFarlane make a play towards Marvel, like Marvel Collector? Because McFarlane's not doing kid. He's maybe tried some kid stuff. At the end of the day, McFarlane is strictly collector, which is why Spin Master has kid DC and McFarlane has collector DC. But he sells a ton, and he moves product, and retail sees it. So it would be wise for him to make that play, because, you know, we saw that he's doing those Marvel statues kind of things. Maybe that's his foothold in the door. Maybe he looks at it as like, okay, I'm going to try to get a relationship going with Marvel, and then they'll be like, oh wow, he sells a lot of DC stuff. Okay, maybe he gets Marvel. Now it'd be interesting if, say, McFarlane got Marvel and Hasbro got DC, and then Hasbro was doing legend type DC figures, which, let me tell you something, me as a DC fan, I would be all on board with that, and I would buy up every single one of them because I am a DC fan. And it would be interesting that if Marvel got, or if McFarlane got Marvel and he was doing those 7-inch Marvel figures, then it's like, then you have Marvel figures that could live with his scale figures, whereas now they can't. So it'll be a very interesting dynamic should that happen. I'm going to sit there with my bowl of popcorn around Toy Fair. Toy Fair is in March. That's usually when they announce those kind of things, because also you have to get, if you're going to lose the license, well, the next person in line has to be ready and be able to get product out in time for the switchover. Because Disney doesn't want a period where they don't have product on shelf, whether it's for Hasbro or Jazzwares. They want to make sure that there's a seamless transition. So that stuff's going to get announced and in time to get stuff out. Now, you know, one thing I find interesting is looking at the landscape of Hasbro. You know, Star Wars just had a HasLab, but Hasbro announced no HasLabs for 2025. That's very telling. Look at their Comic-Con items. One item, one single box figure. They're really cutting back on Marvel, because if you knew that you weren't getting a license, are you really going to put a lot of items out? Now, this is just basic, just figuring out. This is very obvious. Like, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. So if you're seeing that they're not doing a HasLab, they're putting out less items, maybe that tells you something. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. So You know, it's going to be really interesting coming up, seeing what happens. If I were a betting man, which I am, I would say that Hasbro loses everything and McFarlane gets Marvel. The Marvel collector, Jazzwares, gets Marvel Kid. Star Wars is another one. You know, Mattel's a player. You know, Jada, Jax. We'll see. I mean, there's 100 scenarios you could think of, but it'll be real interesting. I mean, if you're DC and Hasbro is making a pitch for DC, which if Hasbro doesn't make a pitch for DC, they're crazy. But if you make a pitch for DC, you got to look at it like, okay, well, we just had McFarlane, and now we can get Hasbro. Like, that's a step up as far as like corporations. I don't know about quality of product or what. That's a totally different video. But yeah, if you're Warner Brothers, like, ooh, wow, we can get Hasbro. Cool. That's a step up for them. So, you know, but does Marvel have does McFarlane have the capital to put up to be able to get Marvel? Now, they wouldn't be getting kids, so they're just getting a portion, so maybe it wouldn't be as intense. We'll see. Jazzwares has done Star Wars before, so they have that relationship. So maybe Jazzwares gets Star Wars and not Marvel. I don't know. But like I said, Mattel is in there. You know, Jax, Jada, Spin Master. I don't know if the DC Kid is coming up at the same as McFarlane, but we'll see. So yeah, it's going to get very, very interesting. Like, you know, it's like waiting for that rumor to like become reality. But it'll be very exciting to see because, you know, things could change or things could stay exactly the same. Nothing can change. Hasbro can get both, you know, Star Wars and Marvel back, and everything will just keep on going the way it goes, or McFarlane keeps DC and nothing changes. That would be a little boring. I would like kind of a change. I remember when Mattel got the WWE license after Jax. Now, Jax went deep. Jax went really deep. And then Mattel got it. I'm like, what could they do that Jax didn't do? But then it's like, look at what Mattel has done. You know, and it's like, I don't see Mattel ever losing that license because it's successful. What they do is, you know, crazy, and it sells. So, you know, I'm sure that relationship is pretty good. But we'll see. It's also like kind of one of those things where you don't have to worry about a competitor. Like, you know, if you're Hasbro, say you keep the Marvel license, you make a play for DC. Well, that Marvel is not going to be happy about that, and DC's not going to be happy about that because I'm like, wait a second, you're going to do both of our stuff. Mattel having WWE, it's WWE. The only competitor out there is AEW, and that's tied up with Jazzwares. So it's nice having a license with kind of an open competition. But yeah, but it'll be really exciting. It'll be very exciting. I'm going to sit there with my bourbon and my popcorn, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to wait to see what happens. You guys should be excited as, you know, toy fans and stuff. So we'll see. But let me know what you guys think of these thoughts and where you might want to see these licenses go. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll do a recap after all this goes down and see if I was right or wrong, or, you know, a little right, a little wrong. But thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and, you know, turning on your notifications for when we put out new content every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll see you on the next one.
It's time for action. Action Force Series 5, the all-new premium action figure line from Valaverse, is here. The Action Force team is introducing some new recruits with Atlas, Senshi, and Sidewinder. Every good unit starts with a great leader. Now we finally get to see who's barking all the orders at the Action Force team. Colonel Siege, the leader of Action Force, is also part of Series 5. All of these new heavy hitters will be needed on the Action Force team because there's a new threat on the horizon. Built inside the secret walls of Crimson Shadow Technologies, a new android security force is born. The Praetorians have now been unleashed. Of course, it wouldn't be a new Action Force series without new basic troopers, gear packs, and a new arsenal of weapons. Action Force Series 5 by Valaverse.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another Valaverse Declassified. Someone's comment that I was reading was like, your tone is very refreshing, not like a used car salesman.